This is Cedric, your host of YourTurn podcast. In this podcast, I speak with people that have pivoted in their life, career, and health. We talk about the gut feels they had, the systems they used, we talk about their learnings. And in this episode, we talk with Daniel Saison. Daniel Saison was a sales executive who moved into the general manager role of IT repair services. We speak about his highs, we speak about his lows, we speak about being underqualified to become a sales professional in France, we speak about being overqualified to find then a few years later any job at all in France. We speak about hitting rock bottom, and we are not talking about Minecraft, we are talking about life. We're also talking about making difficult decisions in life. I learned a lot from him. He's extremely hands-on, he's extremely driven. I have tons of respect for Daniel, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation. So, hello, Daniel. Welcome to Your Turn podcast. Today, we're going to talk about your journey from being an employee, a sales leader, to becoming your entrepreneur. And you had quite an interesting journey. So, really interested to hear all about it today.
Sure. Thanks for welcoming me, Cedric. And the journey is going to be long, so I hope you're prepared. So basically, I don't know from where you want me to start, but I've been doing my degrees in electronics. And since then, I've been looking to work as a salesperson. And it was very interesting because when all your background is technical, the job you find is completely technical. So I've been starting as a field service engineer, and I was so interested to see all these beautiful salespeople driving in an amazing car, wearing a beautiful suit, and I felt that at that time I was doing all the job, and I was finding this unfair. They were all paid 2.5 or 3 times more than me, and one day I decided to leave my very big company to try to find a way to become a sales guy. And what was very interesting, and um, I was known very well in this American company as a very good field service engineer. I became technical support. And when I addressed the fact that I was willing to leave, the sales director, that was a she at that time, came to me and offered me a job as a salesperson. She said, "You want to do it? Let's try." And I was like, I don't want to say chicken, but I felt that in case I would fail, because I've never been at that time I didn't do it. I was worrying that people would remember Daniel as a bad sales and not as a good technical support. So
Yeah.
I felt that it was better to leave and find a sales job. And I've started to send very few CVs. I think like more than 1,000, where I was always getting the either no answer or you were too technical to be a salesperson. So I've been moving my research via some headhunters, and these headhunters were either not answering as well, or I got very few interviews. So, and I remember one in particular, which was very interesting, was a she as well. I think she was a very good fortune teller, and you will laugh later why. And then, knowing my straightforward way of talking to people, she was late half an hour, and already I was like boiling. So I've addressed the beginning of the interview like this: "It's like, I'm sorry, but I did not hear about your apologies being late." And then the meeting started a bit wrong. She looked at my CV, she looked at my profile, talked to me, and she said, "You know what? You'll never become a salesperson. You're a technician. Your degrees are all technical. You will never do good in sales." Thank you very much. Very motivating. But I was so stubborn, willing to become a salesperson, that I was still sending CVs. At that time, I was working for an American company called Intergraph, which was several $100 million per year, like, I don't know, 10,000 people. And I found a very small company with 5 people, where the owner was very special, the least to say. and he offered me a position. So I was having a beautiful car in the previous company, even as a technician, because I was technical support. I was being very well paid, and I was kind of relaxed and secured. And I went to a company with four or five people, and all my colleagues at that time, and it's very important, told me, you know what, Daniel, you're crazy. And then I left. I resigned. They tried to keep me in, but I resigned. I went to this company, and really, really, the owner was very bizarre, but it was an amazing salesperson. So I've been learning sales the hard way. But the good
Mm-hmm.
news is that I was so well known at Intergraph with my clients that pretty much all my clients did order from me the IT product. So I've been blowing all the target within 2 or 3 months, and the temper of this guy was so special, and the way he was addressing his comments to people in general, not to me because I was secured because of my business, was so
Even more,
bizarre.
they were
Oh
even
yeah,
more direct than yours.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm direct, but I'm trying to be polite. He was very
Yeah,
rude. He was
yeah.
very very rude. And even though I'm old now, but I was kind of young at that time, but not as young as my colleague. And the way he was treating them was really awful. And of course,
Mm.
I was acting quote unquote as a Zorro, so we were having friction, big friction. And one day I decided to resign because it was not it was really impossible. And then he was happy. He said, "Okay, you can leave." And I remember in the evening I left. I went back home and I got a call, and it was him because of course I was very good in terms of business. And he said, "You know what? I think we went a little bit too high. Doesn't make sense. When you'll come tomorrow, we'll discuss." I said, "No, but I think you got me wrong. I respect you and everything, but I said I'm resigning." No, no, sorry. In the discussion, in the friction, he fired me. He fired me. So I was kind of happy because I would get security from the
Yeah.
government until I find a job. And then he said, "Tomorrow when you will come, and then we'll have a discussion." And I said, "No, but I'm not coming. You fired me." He said, "No, but we always sometimes talk too fast and da 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 da." And I was playing dumb because I was not willing to go back. And then he clearly said that. So in case you don't come tomorrow, then consider yourself like you will resign. And I was like, annoying. So obviously, I had to go back. I was not secured financially at that time to go back to work, and I've been sending some CVs, which because I made some buzz, I found a job as a salesperson as well. So I left this company after 3 or 4 months, and I went to another one, which was like much bigger. I think 25 employees.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Yeah.
it was a bit bigger, and you will understand why I've said to you about this headhunter before. After 6 months, because still with my past with Intergraph, so many customers were following me and trusting me. I became the sales director. So having 9 months or 9 months of experience in sales, I turned to be the sales director for this company, where all the salespeople were older than me. So that was kind of complicated. And obviously at that time, I thought about this amazing headhunter that was a fortune teller for sure, but a bad one. So and it turns to be very very good. Honestly, I was working night and day.
Yeah.
I was so motivated. I got now I was going back to what I was seeing with the previous company, a very big car. I had the first like huge suitcase telephone in the car, which each time you were spending a minute, it was costing you $100.
Yeah.
So after I think a year and a half, I found a much bigger company because I was willing to go outside of the hexagon, the French hexagon,
And
and
then,
that was
then
that was my aim.
you, if you were there, you made a very big career jump. And how were you as a director? I mean, when you had 9 months of sales experience, was your first people management role. So what were your learnings? You came on the
Yeah.
job, you're a sales director, and then what?
You know what, Cedric? That's a very interesting question, and my answer is maybe not gonna be very modest or humble, but I do believe that you've got this in your genes or you don't have it. After, it's the way you entertain it and you grow it. But I didn't know at that time if I would be a good manager or not. And the way for me to secure, quote unquote, because we are never secured as a self, was to work like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yeah, I'm lucky that I don't need much sleep, like 2 to 3 hours a day. But basically, I was going back home. It was 11 or 12 p.m. And I remember I was running at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then at 5 o'clock I was in the office, and that was
Wow.
my daily routine. And honestly speaking, it's not like, as you know, I'm in Dubai working 6 days a week. At that time, I was really working 7 days a week. The only thing I was making a little pause because I was in France and my mom was insisting to have us on Sunday lunch. So I was meeting my family on Sunday lunch. So Sunday morning I was going to the office, leaving the office to go for my family lunch and going back to the office. And that was really every day of the week. And I gained. I'm not saying it was easy because especially at the beginning there was some friction because people were testing me, especially elder salespeople and all this. But I gained the respect because of all this work I've been doing, and the fact that I was having results. Because on top of giving targets to people, I was also taking a target for myself. So honestly, the experience was pretty good. Um, then, as I said, I left for a bigger company as a product manager at that time. So it was a bit of sales, but also a lot of procurement and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've been learning marketing also at that time. And I think after 2 years, I think it was pretty much my routine at that time. I was staying 2 years and I was moving. I was really I had a big ambition to grow, to be honest.
And then let's fast forward to the period that when you met as well, when you're working at Nvidia. It was also again starting up a region, starting up a territory. How did you go about this? Because then I want to move forward to your pivot to become an entrepreneur, actually.
Sure.
But what did you learn at Nvidia? Why Dubai and so on?
So in between Nvidia, why Nvidia spotted me? It's because I was working for Maxtor, the HDD industry. After Maxtor, I've been working for Western Digital, and then this is where it was really interesting. I've been always working when I was working for American for the number two. I've never been working for the leader. And
Yeah.
and when Nvidia, and that's really true, came to approach me at the same time, but within the same week, and I don't know why, and I will never explain because I don't know. AMD at that time, AMD, no, at that time ATI, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, chased me, and I had like within a couple of days two offers. One was ATI and was Nvidia. Funny enough, Nvidia was the number one, but the offer was a bit less financially interesting than ATI. But the perspective of Nvidia and the fact that talking to my very close friend that I was told for once works with the leader, I decided to go for Nvidia, and you know what did happen at Nvidia? I got one of the best region in the world. I have the email from the CEO about that, where we reached almost more than 90% market share. So everything went well, and for some personal reason and some politic reason as well, I got out of Nvidia.
And
And
then before we go to your switch to entrepreneur, so what did you do so well? I mean, you entered the market. It was a challenging period, right? So we did not have everywhere a good market share. So why do you think you build it up to that level?
well, again, I've been lucky enough that when I joined in Nvidia, I've been getting the region where not much has been done. Especially, I got a bit of Europe, which was already under some management, but was not really impressive. But I got Middle East, and I had already a big expertise in Middle East. And at that time, ATI was leading the market, as you know, and they were promising a lot, but they were not delivering. And I'm talking about money, marketing, and that's the major mistake that they've been doing at that time, and that's what I discovered. So that was exactly the angle I've been using to bring Nvidia to this market, and was telling them, I understand it might be a little bit more complicated to move Nvidia, but try me. Whatever promises I'm gonna give you, you're gonna get it. So at the end, it will be much more profitable to push
Mm-hmm.
Nvidia. Might be a little bit more complicated, but much more profitable for you and your company than moving ATI. And one distributor and two distributor and then a big one, and then we reach that volume. I'm not saying it happens in one month or 2 months, but after a year and a half already we were back on track with ATI, and after we just blow them out because of the quality of the product of Nvidia as well.
Yeah. So keeping your promises and your commitments to the distributor partners is one. Then
and
if you look at
and then creating the complete network, and you know, Cedric, better than anyone, sales for me is made of doing the task that people don't want you to. So what I've started to do is to go to the low level, to go to small resellers,
yeah,
convince them, bring them to distributors, and do another one, and do another one. And then I went to Carrefour, convince them, bring them to the distributor, and
yeah,
then slowly but surely, people saw us like, this guy is bringing us so much business, and he's acting. Let's support him.
yeah,
And this is exactly what we did, and that was my strategy to grow the Middle East. And for India, it was a bit different, completely different, but same approach kind of.
yeah.
Everything I've been committing on, everything I've been committing on, I've been delivering. So
Yeah, I
otherwise, I
also
was
saw
not
the same.
promising.
Yeah, I also saw the same in retail, right? When you ask for a digital camera, they drive you, the people in the stores, to the camera they want to sell. And if
Exactly.
you help them selling your product,
Yeah.
then they become your biggest champions.
You know, I think there is now it's getting better in Middle East, but at that time, I've been seeing the potential, but the management was absent. I remember that we had this solution with the I forgot the name of the card with the camera and everything. I don't know how it was called, but then I convinced the retail market to go for it and to promote it, and then the distributor was happy. And as you know, I was having so many countries that I was commuting to Middle East from time to time, then leaving, and then I was even having one staff here in Dubai that was supposed to follow up. And I remember after 3 weeks I came back, so they had my card inside of a PC, they had the retail card on a different section, and they had the camera, because at that time we were needing a camera also, a different section. So I was like, the whole promotion was completely ruined. There was no sense. I mean, you had the demo on one side, nothing available at that side, and we were not selling it until you explained that you need to club everything and make the promo all together to promote it. None of the distributor, the resellers, or even my sales guy did it. And that's all these small details that you were building one step after another one made the difference. Even
Yeah.
with the competitors, which they had like a team of 10 or 12 people here, everyone was enjoying. And that's it. And I was enjoying too, but delivering. And that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's the difference.
and it's also very hands-on. Your approach, that's what I see, and really starting from zero, explaining them, and
It
so on.
was.
And so this was a very intense work doing all these countries. And then let's move to the point that you decided to make a shift. I think we are all a bit stuck at a certain moment in a golden cage,
Yeah.
and then what happens? When do you say, okay, let's do it? I'm out of here.
There've been a couple of steps that motivated to that. I'm just gonna go back a little bit, Cedric, where I got given India, which was a big challenge because nobody would give India to a French guy, since it's an ex British colony, I would say. So people would tend to give it. At that time, the VP decided to give it to me, and I remember, and that's the joke, but it's very interesting, that some of the CEOs in India of the distributors were sending him an email telling him we don't want the French people driving Nvidia here in this region. French people are known as lazy, quote unquote, strikers, and the image of the country is like business wise is not that good. And
Wow.
again, same strategy. I remember I went to Delhi. I've been doing every single small dealers, and the business came to Nvidia. And and then I'm going back to your point, when I decided to leave India because I've been through my second divorce over 10 years at Nvidia, um, I've told that to the new VP that I would be leaving India because it was too much. I had the whole Africa, the whole Middle East, some strategic account in Asia. I mean, part of the discussion in the US, and some country in Europe. That was crazy. And then when I decided to go, the same CEOs, and that's really, if I have one achievement in my whole business career is this one. The same CEO were sending an email to the VP to say, "Don't remove this guy, don't remove this guy." So,
Yeah.
so that was very interesting. I think I've been completely exhausted, even though I was not feeling it. My last quote unquote divorce destroyed me a bit more. I got completely, and that was the first time in my life I had, by the way, as a joke, I had a record to beat, which was my father in all his career stopped one day to work, and I was willing to beat his record. And until then, after 20 plus years of work, I've never stopped. And then I went into a big depression where I got out of my work for 4 or 5 months. I enjoy being sacked by Nvidia at that time. So having almost no experience in France, having a very high salary with diploma like the MBA in Stanford and everything, I turned to be jobless. I didn't know what to do, and that's part of my novel, and we will address it later. Um, then I felt there's nothing I can do in France to find a job. I don't have,
Mhm.
after being like 45 years old, I have zero experience in my own country, except in paying tax. That's the only thing I was doing in France. So I
Yeah.
decided to leave to Middle East, where I think there was still a big hope to develop and to create your own business. And I've been meeting my yeah.
And before we go there, sorry to interrupt because you had a 4 or 5 month depression. How did you get out of it?
Honestly, I don't know if it's a protecting system of your body or whatever, but I tend to say I don't remember. It was terrible. I remember locking myself in my. I had a very big villa, as you imagine. I was making a lot of money at Nvidia. I was under a lot of mortgages, and then suddenly the money was not coming anymore. I was locking myself in my villa. The shutters were closed. I was not seeing anyone. Um, and slowly, I think there's an expression in French, but I don't know how it is in English. When you let yourself drown, and then you feel your feet is touching the ground. The only way you have to do is either you stay here or you push on your feet and you go up. And I think I
Mhm.
reached that level where I was like, either it's finished or you need to do something.
Yeah.
And then I think the only motivation for me to get out is that I'm lucky enough to still have my parents. And then I was thinking, for them, I cannot let it go. I mean, it's unfair. And then
Mhm.
that's what I did. And then I decided, against the will of my daughter, at that time she was like 15, I think, to leave to Dubai and to try to manage with almost no money. And my challenge was, because I still had to pay the studies of my daughter and pay the pension for her mother, to not use any money that I had in France still, and to manage with myself here. So I had to find jobs, whatever job it was. I've been offloading during the night containers with the Indians and Pakistanis. I was the only white face doing this during the night. During the day, as I said earlier, I don't sleep much. I was looking for jobs. I found some very small IT jobs starting from zero at 5,000 dirhams a month. Um, and then I got one of my ex-CEO I was doing business with when I was at Nvidia, who we met by mistakes, and he said, "What about building the best maintenance company in Dubai?" And I said, "I have nothing to do. Why not?" And this is how we started. So he's very rich. After 6 months, he left to Spain, and then I had to develop this. I was the GM of the company, and believe
Mm-hmm.
me or not, but after 3 years, we became, and I know you're following me on LinkedIn, so you've seen that, we became the best maintenance company in Dubai. And the only company who did this, we did it 2 years in a row, and this is the only company who did it. Uh, Obviously, after, because money was coming, so there was some tension. So then I left. So I was quote unquote jobless, but with a bit of money. Um, and then COVID came, and then I had nothing to do. So it was very complicated. And since years, I was willing to write a book, and I said that's the best occasion. And this is how the first novel came, and then the second, and then that's it. And but anyone, as I always say, and you know that also, Cedric, anyone can say that you write a book, but you cannot say you're a novelist or a writer if you did not get published. So I was like, let's see if there's any value of my books. And then I've
Yeah.
started on the net to find some publisher, and I got lucky to be published. And then I got lucky to be translated. So now my book exists in French and English, and that's it. That's the whole story. So afterwards, most of my staff that were working with me in the previous maintenance company called me and told me that they were desperate with the actual situation, the way that the manager was treating them, and this. And they asked me to help them, so I helped them trying to find another company. And after finding them the company, they called me back the same day where they were taken, and they said, "No, we don't trust anyone. We want to do it with you." And I'm back
Oh,
to a maintenance company. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, we became the best maintenance company in Dubai. So
oh, congratulations. Yeah.
we repeated the story.
And then, yeah, that's the whole thing. And I think that's very fascinating for the people that are listening. You're pretty consistent, you're very hands-on. And what is your system to success? Can you describe it in a couple of words?
I think you said it. And I would summarize it in 2 words: hands-on. And you spotted me completely out. I need to understand what's going on from A to Z. So I'm very close to the to the laborers, to the workers, and I'm also very direct and talking directly to to our customers. So that's one, and the other one is work. I mean, that's really the only thing I value is a big quantity of work, and that's it, quantity and quality, of course. But again, I mean, as I said, I'm lucky to not sleep, so that's really something I cherish. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
change that at all.
yeah, that is pretty unique and not something that anybody can take over. If I sleep less than 7 hours, I'm a wreck. So bit
Well,
jealous.
I think it's a mindset because I've been reading a lot about that, and it seems that you can do it. And some people are saying that you can even sleep like only 1 hour a day if it's good. I can do. I'm lucky enough to do some power napping also, and I can share a joke with this because that's the problem I think with all the very energetic people. When your battery is off, I can feel it, and I know I need to sleep.
Yeah.
So I was going to Stanford with someone called Serge Lemonde, and he was driving, and I was telling him, you know what, Serge, I think I need to sleep, and he just flipped back to me to say, okay, you can sleep. We'll reach. I was sleeping. I was gone, and after 4 minutes, I was back on. Battery was at 80%, and I was completely able to do whatever duty was. So yeah, I'm fortunate on it, but I'm sure that pretty much everyone can reach that level. I need a bit more now, 3 to 4 hours. For a long time, I was needing 2 hours. So we're traveling so much, jet lag was not an issue.
Yeah.
So that was the good things. But yeah,
So on the one hand, you have the hands-on, you have a great relation with your people, they're very loyal. The thing is, if you're just hands-on, you do things, but you also would need to know where you want to go and how do you want to go. So how do you handle,
Yeah, well,
how do you switch
don't forget
between?
what I said because the quantity and quality of work is very important. Because if you say hands-on and you're close to your staff, it could be understood also, and especially by the staff, as micromanagement. And most of the people they don't like micromanagement.
Hmm.
So when people are coming, because the office we start, as you understood, it's a service company very early, like 7:30. I'm here already for an hour and a half or 2 hours sometimes. So this is something that at the beginning, when there's a new member coming, they are shocked. It's like, how come this guy is here? And when they're either coming back with their van to get something before going back home, I'm still here. And it's like these people, they wonder, and after they feel that it's normal that I ask some question about their work, about their life, and they are not offended at all, and they don't see me as micromanagement. Um, I'm also very good in end demand because I set myself a challenge when I was at Nvidia. All my weekend I've been extending myself the house for 2 years, so I know what I'm talking about. And sometimes even themselves, especially when it's civil work, they come to get my opinion, and sometimes, and going back to hands-on, I'm taking my car and I'm going with them. And
Yeah.
again, I think you cannot pay for the respect. You cannot um, reach the respect without uh, getting done to offer you this opportunity. And
Yeah.
again, they respect me today because I deliver and try to deliver so much that they respect that. So that's it.
Mm.
And you said something very important too, and we reached to have a bridge recently. Loyalty for me is one of the factor. Still, any staff coming to Repair Pro, they come to me and I have interview with them, um, and that's pretty much always the same things I'm telling them. I want loyalty. If tomorrow, for any reason, because what you're doing is very tough, you are sometimes 3 or 4 hours on the roof where the temperature is very high. If the next day you need to go to the pool, tell me, sir, I'm completely exhausted. I need to go to the pool. I'm not telling you I'm going to be happy to get this news, but I'm very happy that you come to me to tell me, and we'll find a way for you to relax. But if
Yeah.
I discover that you went to the pool, the challenge is not the same. This
Yeah.
is this is gonna be terrible. And recently we had one of the, and this is where really I'm proud of. I'm not proud of people giving others, but I'm proud of the fact that an Indian has been cheating on the company, and that two of his Indian colleagues went to me to tell me, you know what, sir, what is doing to you and to the company, as per the way you're treating us or whatever, is completely unfair. And this means a lot to me. This means a lot. And again, we are going back to this word loyalty. Loyalty
Hmm.
is critical and it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. True. And when we look at them within 12 months, so what is your vision for the organization? How do you want to develop your company?
It's funny you're asking me the question now, because when I created Repair Pro, I was really willing to just make it exquisite and very kind of private. And this is why I've started with one van, in the idea of having three maximum. And since then I've been doing zero marketing, except some announcement on LinkedIn from time to time, and that's it. And today, for your information, we're gonna reach 12 van,
Well,
and it was not planned, but the word of mouth and the fact that clients are so surprised uh, between the ethic of the company, the professionalism of the company, the cleanness of the company, that they never saw. I have loads of examples, but the best one is this one. We have a very rich, there's nothing to against rich people, a very rich local that by mistake I signed his, we can call it villa, but I would write villa, Palace. we did sign his palace, uh, that was a big contract. And of course, I've never met him. It was through his caretaker. It's a she. And that was 3 or 4 months we were working with him. And I got a call from the caretaker and said, um, the owner wants me to have a meeting with you to talk about his villa. And I was like, oh my God, I hope I'm not going to lose this contract because it's a very,
Mm-hmm.
very attractive contract. And then I sat there and she said, the owner is so impressed by what you delivered and he's got so many maintenance company that he wants to give you his other villa. Keep in mind what I've said at the beginning, he's rich. So I was
Yeah.
like, in my mind, I was like, fine, I'm going to have 4 or 5 more villa. And then I said, well, I'm very grateful. Thank you. Tell me how we're going to work, how many villa. I said, oh, he's having 55 villa. That was like, oh my God. And then I rejected it. And then she was also impressed because of this rejection, because I said, sorry, but as per the team I have today
Yeah.
and the capacity I have today, I'm not able to take it. So because of that, again, and because of my answer, because I left the meeting with a no-go, she talked to the owner, and the owner said, no, 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 let's find a way. Give him a first trunk or a second trunk and a third trunk. Let's positioning in the time. Here we go. And today we
Wow.
have more than 160 contracts, and it's less than a year.
Wow.
And again, without any will of growing this company. So this is why I'm saying I'm very thankful for this business, because this is mainly from my customer. This is
Yeah.
my customer who gave it to me.
Yeah, exactly, but you need as well sustain that growth. So, what is your system to build up the company from one van to 12 vans to know you need some financing, so you need some planning, you need to hire people. Can you maybe go a bit more detail? How do you do this?
So financing, as of today, was not too much an issue, to be honest, because we've been growing uh, very peacefully, and it was okay. It's more it's more the way that I don't want to take the chance to not continue to deliver the same quality job that we were doing before. So this is why I'm working mainly on contract customer. So that means that today, even if it's weird to say that, but I'm rejecting any call out. So it's like, if a customer is calling me just for one time job, I'm not interested. It's not that I'm not interested. Let me rephrase what I said. I don't have the capacity to take it because it's going to be detrimental to my contract customer, which expect loyalty as well. So then
Sure.
I reject it today. I'm finding a way. Either we cannot be for 3 weeks or whatever. So of course the customer won't wait. And in parallel to that, when I sign a new contract in regards to the number of team I have, each new team that will come will be integrated to an existing team. So not only to judge them on their technical, but also for them to swallow all the processes that we have in place. I'll give you a few, but very interesting one. I mean, I remember, because I'm a bit OCD, when I came to Dubai, before having a maintenance company, I had some guys to come to fix my plumbing issues. They came, and the first thing they do in Dubai is that they remove their shoes. Their shoes are ugly, but they remove their shoes. And the first thing I told the guys, like, please put it back. It was worse without the shoes than with the shoes. So saying that, I took this, and thanks to Stanford, who made me think also differently, I said, let me work on a concept where people won't question about the fact that the guy has dirty socks, dirty feet, dirty shoes, whatever. So all the outfit is supplied by my company anyway. But then I've implemented, me traveling a lot, as you know, the shoe sleeve, the plastic shoe sleeve. And I was the first one to launch as a maintenance company the shoe sleeve. So and I have a joke about this as well. The technician going to any premise, they put the shoe sleeve on, and there's no question. The end user at the end, the client at the end was like, no problem, they are completely protected. So the limit of the management, and it might be interesting for you, in the previous maintenance company when I launched this idea, every single day, because I know I have to repeat this like babies, because they are not used to all these processes, because I've implemented also a very thick mat to put on the floor where they put their tools instead of putting it everywhere on the leather sofa of someone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And every day, I mean it, for 2 weeks in a row, every morning I was saying, don't forget, when you go to the client, put your shoe sleeve on, put the mat, put your shoe sleeve on, put the mat. And I was doing what we call mystery shopping. And one day I went to a community and I've seen one of my van stop my car. There was one of my technicians next to the van looking for a tool, and he had the shoe sleeve on. And I look at him as like, what the hell are you doing? Showing the shoe sleeve. He said, sir, you told us to put the shoe sleeve. And I was like, my bad. If you miss one step, they don't miss it. They are so quote unquote obedient that they will do it. But then I forgot to say, of course, when you get out of the premise, you remove, because otherwise, no point. This is what you learn when all these little steps, which might be obvious in Europe or in Western part of the world. I don't know. I don't want to be racist in any region. Is not something obvious here.
Yeah.
You need to go step by step and mention it. So this is maybe where we make the difference. We think about all these steps and we try to implement it, and we put some very easy processes next to it. And sometimes, I got a case yesterday on a different subject. Sometimes the customer, because it's a special case kind of, but my guys are applying the processes. So of course, sometimes in 1% of the cases, these processes are not working.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to be involved myself and explain to the customer that's the only way that my company can survive. Having set processes, in 1% of the cases, I might make someone unhappy, then I'm treating it. And that's what I've said to this client yesterday. And finally, he understood it. But I prefer to reach to make happy the biggest part of my business than 1%. So I made the decision.
Yeah, and I like the fact, so it's step by step, but you are building a process. When you will integrate the new team members into those teams, it will enable you to build much faster than extra teams.
Yeah, and you know what? At the end, Cedric, I think what is very, very interesting is that the customer, they do understand it. I gained so much with this big customer that they have rejected the business, that it's something, I don't know if I will have him for life, but he just gave me, I think it's yesterday, I have the contract here on my desk, 14 new villas. And this is how maybe, and I'm not trying to say that it was planned and it was strategic. I knew that if I would at that time have taken it, it would have been a fail.
Yeah.
And then instead of being greedy and getting everything in one go and losing everything, I decided to not take it, continue my business. And they found a solution because they were so eager to work with me. And at the end, we were all happy.
Yeah, yeah. And when you look now at so the coming 12 months really look obviously very great. If you look back a couple of years when you just started, what did you wish you had?
We wish you had in what terms, because if it's to grow faster the company, the solution is very easy. It's money. I've started with very, very little money, and I had to grow organically at the beginning. But the rest, honestly, when I started Repair Pro, I had everything. I had all the good guys because they were working with me in the past. I know how loyal they are. Technical, their technical expertise. I've been very lucky. When I started Repair Pro, it's very arrogant saying this, but I knew. I know how I'm gonna articulate it. I knew it would be a relative success. So no, it's more than a relative success, but I knew it would be a success. I was not obviously looking only for money, but I was thinking that I will build something that will sustain, that will be able to work on itself, and even if it's organic. As a proof, we started in June last year. June was the only month where we did a loss, which is, I think, when you start a company, it's very impressive. every single other month has been a profit.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Great.
So
Yes. Yeah, it's great to see what you're doing. I'm really impressed with it. And you said a while ago you spoke about your daughter that did not want you to go to Dubai. How she is looking today at her father, who is building success in Dubai.
well, that's a different matter. At the time, even though we had a lot of talk about this, because at that time she felt that it was more easy for me to stay than to leave. And I proved her wrong by showing her all the CV I've sent when I was in France to look for a job. Honestly, from any job, my ego is not that big, and even though I was making a fortune working before, I was looking for any position. I remember I even applied for a position of concierge in an hotel in France, so which I did not get into any interview, to be honest. um, but today, I mean, she's 24, so she understands a little bit more. But I have to say, it was not an easy journey at that time. She was
Mhm.
uh, she was into permanent rebellion, thinking that I completely abandoned her. And at that time, teenagers, like, it's not because you paid for my studies that blah blah blah. So she thought that my way to get forgiven, kind of, was a way to pay for her studies and her needs or whatever. But I was not. But I've proved her how complicated it was for me at that time, and that's it. So slowly but surely things are getting better. But yeah, it's not easy. But again, remember the image I gave you about you droning and reaching the ground. You need to take decision, and unfortunately, I think there's always some hard for me to say that talking about my daughter, but collateral damages, and she was one of them. She was one of them. Um, I tried to do it as good as I could, but it was not easy. And as of today, it's better, so it's okay. I think I took the right decision. Of course, all these years without being too close to her is something I will never get back. That
Mhm.
I understand. But what if I would not be here today? That's also the difference.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So you need always to balance the pros and the cons, and that's it.
We share this as well, right? So you have to make choices at a certain moment. And when you have been successful in one region, when obviously we know Western Europe is not the most ideal place, pretty
Sure.
institutionalized. So if you want to grow, sometimes the market that you know is best, or the best way to go, obviously. Um, I have three more questions. We are getting at the end of the conversation. Um, when you look back, when you left the employee status, when you moved to an entrepreneurship, when you look back, what did you wish you had done differently?
Um, I'm gonna answer your question differently. If because if I am an entrepreneur today, honestly speaking, I think it was not my choice. The life made it like this.
Hmm.
Because if I would have stayed at Nvidia, maybe I would be celebrating my 22nd year at Nvidia or something like this. Would be filthy rich, and that's it. But again, it's we're going back to droning, and it was a decision because it was an obvious decision because it's like you want to get out of this situation. You've sent gazillion CVs. You did not get any positive answers, and and then you want to get out of that, and you don't have money. So what do you want to do? So no, nobody wants to work with you for any reason. You don't have the profile. You're too expensive. Too many diploma, whatever. So when you're not completely stupid, you quickly scan all the solutions. It's like there's only
Yeah,
one. Do it yourself.
yeah, Exactly. And is it full circle when you had a technical background and you're back in a technical sector?
No, you know what? I mean, I'm convinced that again, maybe I'm too much putting this on my ability of not sleeping, but I'm convinced that any first of all, we have this ability in Europe or in the world, I would say, to put people in a bucket. So
Hmm.
it's like because you've been as a proof, I started like this because you've been a technician working on big system, you will be a technician always on big
Yeah.
systems. Remember, I was willing to become a sales. It was almost impossible. I took the risk, and by the way, the joke when I said all my colleagues said you're crazy, you should not go. When I reached being a sales director, I went back with my big car, phone, and you know what people said, and this is where it's interesting. I don't blame them. They said you're so lucky. And you know what? This is where it's interesting. You're completely nuts living, and then they forgot this period of 6 or 9 months where I've been suffering because they did not see it. So they saw me living in a situation and coming with a new car, nice suit, telephone, which was one of the first one at that time, and they forgot these stages. But that's exactly that. That's really where people needs to focus and understand that there was a lot of stages in between,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
each small period is summarizing pretty much the life of a person. The journey is not made of like a calm water or whatever. There is rough time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and sometimes and often you only grow when you hit rock bottom, eh?
Unfortunately, I hate when people are saying this, but I have to agree that it seems we are much more able to learn from our mistakes than our successes.
Yeah.
But it's so true, uh, a lot of people are feeling that when there's not many people, there's gonna be a lot now who knows about my life now. But when people know me now, there's a lot of people saying that, "Gosh, you're so resilient. How did you manage to go through all this?" Well, it's again, I think we have capacities. Everyone, I'm not talking about myself here. I'm completely forgetting. I'm convinced that every single human being has capacities that are way, way, way bigger than what they think. And we
Hmm.
all have this ability. We just need to go to it. And unfortunately, as you rightly said, sometimes there is the bad way to reach to that capacities because you reach the bottom and either you just forget about the rest or you want to fight and you want to manage. And that's it. And I think in 90% of the cases, people they want to fight and manage. And that was my
Hmm.
case. And
Yeah.
of course, if I look back now, I would say, yeah, maybe I'll try to avoid my second divorce and I would not go to all this. I would still get my job and da da da. But at the end, see where I am. I'm happy. I'm making like 20 family happy. That has no price.
Yeah, true, true. Great story. Still have two questions. I want to ask everybody those same questions. We just spoke about learning. Did you have a mentor, a podcast, a book that really inspired you?
Um, yes, yes and no. Inspired me in some points and inspired me in some points I don't want to do. One person that inspired me, which is one of the rare guy that insulted me in my life, which is Jensen, the CEO of Nvidia. Uh, I've been seeing him insulting pretty much all the VPs and director of his company, but I have to say the guy is a machine. I mean, he's a genius. I've lost completely my control of myself, my brain, the day he came to Dubai, because he's so able to understand everything before you, and he foresee everything. That it's complicated to handle this guy, but I have he has all my respect because
Hmm.
and remember that's maybe why I'm doing this as well. He gained my respect, and it's not because he's the multi-billion owner of a company, blah blah blah. It's because I remember when I was going early to the US, his Ferrari was already parked on the parking, and when I was leaving, he was still there. And trust me, this guy is not playing Tetris or whatever in the office. I know he's working. And if you remember well, at that time at Nvidia, we had what we called once a week top five. I don't know if you remember that. It was like you were
Yeah.
sending for your region the 5 points of your regions, uh, positive or negative, and I'm not saying every week, but very, very, very often I was getting an answer from him. And and
Yeah.
and at my time, it was a company of 8,000 people or 6,000 people, and it's
6,000.
it's 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 nuts.
Yeah.
And so this is why I mean he gained all my respect. And the other one is my father, because he's not he never reached a very high position. We never got a lot of money when we were all together, but I've seen him working so much, hard working. He had up to 100 people reporting to him, so he had a quote unquote in responsibility a big position, but he was in a segment which was not paying. But keep in mind, in 42 years, he's been working 42 years, I think. He stopped one day.
Wow.
And don't think that he's never been sick or whatever, but his attitude towards work and the fact that he signed the contract was so impressive that it's something that pretty much all of us lost when you have the nose running. And I see that, and I respect that as well, unfortunately. But same with my guys here, and I'm not judging that because this is the way things are going. When someone has his nose running, then they stay home for 1 day or 2 days,
Yeah.
which was impossible in the past, and then they had the respect of the contract and all this, and they are not doing it again. I'm not saying
Your
it was
reference
good.
is also different, eh? Your
Yeah,
reference is
that's
you
what I
grew
want
up
to.
with somebody who's been sick one day.
I'm trying to put in perspective the things, but I think on one side it was extreme. On today's side, it's extreme as well. I think would be fine to find something in between, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Some more shades. What was
Yeah.
the last question?
The last question is, when is it time for a pivot? Maybe you hit rock bottom and then you had to pivot, but when would it be for you a good time to pivot?
Well, okay. So one segment of me is also that I hate to see the wheat growing. Okay, I'm more a guerrilla type, or someone who will open the doors and set the processes than a farmer looking at the wheat growing or whatever. So without being able to disclose, I'm working on a very, very big project, which will, if it works, which will allow me to quit Repair Pro, and I have already a big project for Repair Pro, which would be a good surprise for most of my staff. But my pivot could be that if I manage to sign this agreement with this big company outside of Dubai, I think it could be the last challenge of my life.
Sounds great. And then when will you pivot?
Well, as soon as it sign it, then I will have to work on both project to make sure that the new one will be able to run properly, and then I will leave Repair Pro to my teams, and will be completely outside of it. When I would say before the end of the year. If it happens, it's before the end of the year.
All right. All right. Sounds great. Looking forward to being updated on your big project. So
I'll
with
be, I'll
this
be
was
happy
the
to come
last.
back. I'll be happy to come back and tell you more as soon as it will be done. Again, today I'm just crossing my fingers, and then we'll see.
Yes, great. So thank you very much for your extremely interesting conversation. I really learned a lot. And good luck with your pivot and with your further growth. And speak soon.
Thanks. I appreciate what you do, and long life to your project. Then take care.
Uh, Thank you very much.